Welcome to the Three-Legged Podcast.
Three. Welcome,
everybody.
welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Three-Legged Podcast, or Amateur Hour. Amateur Hour. That's what we should have called the podcast, bro.
Amateur Hour. Or
Amateur Hour Podcast.
maybe beta episodes.
Beta episodes, yeah.
Beta 3.
Beta 3. This is what we are, Beta 3. So, hopefully by now you've found us on, tell them where we're at, bro.
We are on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud, as well as Tumblr. And, of course, our Three-Legged Podcast website on Libsyn. So, either way you want to go through it, you can listen to us. I mean, there's no way around it. And no escape, so you have no excuse.
We're here to stay. We're in too deep. We invested too much time in headaches trying to figure out how to get this shit to work. So, now the only thing to do is keep on moving forward. So, follow us on Instagram at the Three-Legged Podcast or on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter, Three-Legged Podcast. So, we've made a big effort on trying to make ourselves very accessible. I think that's the proper word, right? Accessible. So, just look us up. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll get links to the episodes, links also to YouTube. Or we got a YouTube channel. So we're making sure that you find this episodes any way possible, short of putting an app on your phone, which is the last thing we want to do is put an app on your phone when your lazy asses can just look us up on YouTube, iTunes, Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere that Carlos just talked about.
Listen, when you're listening to Little Coogee on SoundCloud saying yeah, every single, track, you can find us in there. No, you got an iPhone. I mean, everybody has one. If not, you got an Android, boo. But still.
They work.
We're there.
We've been using Android for pretty much everything on Instagram right now. So, it works. It's been getting the job done. So, tell a friend. How's it go? How'd you say it on the first episode?
Tell a friend, and tell a hoe.
There you go.
It's a telethon, man.
That's a telethon. We're going to start that pyramid scheme. We need you to start telling everybody. The only way we're going to get better is if we are influenced by our listeners and our followers. What do they call it? Demand, right?
Yeah. Supply and demand.
Supply and demand. So we're going to supply as much as you guys demand. And fuck it, we're going to supply a lot, even if you don't demand it. It's up to you guys. But we do want to thank everybody following us. We've had a really good turnout, so we want to thank all our friends and family that have joined us on Instagram, on Twitter. Along the way, we found some desperate people for attention. We thank you, and we are desperate too, so we know your feeling. We want to thank all the other 20 people on Instagram that are following us. We got some followers on YouTube, Twitter, and now SoundCloud. So we're moving up in the game very slowly, but we're moving up, and our goal is to continue to grow and learn and get the damn thing done. So, visit us on our website too, the threeleggedpodcast.com. No numbers, just letters. It's a work in progress, but the contact us button does work. So if you want to go there, check it out, talk shit about the website, talk shit about the podcast, you can send us an email. Also on Instagram, Twitter, you can talk to us through there too. We will listen. We might not reply to your ass, but we will listen. So don't hesitate. Hit us up.
Sounds good, man. Oh, also, speaking of followers, shout out to Perspectives, a.k.a. Tony. You're probably not following us yet. Hit that follow button, but you did hit the like button whenever we posted about the iTunes situation. So, it seems like you're scheming out there, watching out for us. So just hit that like button and the follow. Also, too bad, so sad you don't work at Bedrock anymore. I ain't got nobody to talk to in there. So, moving on to better things. And let me know if you cop something out that Supreme drop tomorrow. All right, so let's get going with the podcast. So what do we got today or tonight?
There you go. So tonight. So we are back at home. Both of us are back at home in Texas. I did my war tour in Pennsylvania. It was cold and beautiful, but it was nice. And you guys heard about that in episode 2. So I wanted to wrap that up by letting you guys know that I was able to hit up the church brew works at the very end of my trip before I hit the airport. I was able to get into Pittsburgh. We got there right when they opened, and it was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. I found Jesus. I found Jesus through beer, and I'm so happy that I found Jesus through beer. I love beer. So if you follow us on Instagram, you saw some of the pics that I posted. It was a pretty cool atmosphere. Everybody was pretty laid back. We were surprised because there was a lot of like office people there for lunch. I'm not gonna hate them, man. I'm not gonna hate on that, man. If I can go to a church, drink beer, and praise the Lord all in 30 minutes, let's do it. But
Wait,
yeah,
so
it was pretty cool. So
is it actual church?
no. It's not. It's the building is a church. The building is a church, but no, I was just exaggerating about praising the Lord. I was praising the beer.
I mean, I know there's gotta be a church out there where you can sit while listening to a word. There's gotta be.
No, that is my goal. I've talked to a couple of my friends, and my long-term goal is to open up a bar and call it the church. So that's one of the reasons I was so excited about going to this brewery, because it was called the church. So motherfuckers, if you hear this shit and then you take my fucking idea, I will come and fuck you up. I will burn your motherfuckers
don't even do that. Just
to the ground. Because I
sue
already
'em
put
and
it
you
out
take
there.
the whole
I already
thing.
put it out there. I already put it out there that I want to open up a bar called the church and sell street tacos out of it. Okay. But my goal is to open up a bar called the church, and every Sunday have open mic where people can come and pretend to be a pastor or a preacher and do a sermon before the Cowboy game. That's my goal. So, Cowboy fans, we're gonna pray for Super Bowl together at the church bar that one day I will open. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but that's my goal, bro. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'll be there whenever I hit D-Town.
You be there? The reason I want to do it, dude, is that way when people go, do you go to church? I can say every Sunday. Every Sunday, like clockwork, I go to church. I'm there from 10 to 12 at 12 a.m. I'm there every day. I don't want to lie about going to church anymore, bro. Actually, I've never lied about going to church. Well, who am I joking? Everybody who knows me knows I don't lie about going to church, but yeah, that's my dream. That's one of my dreams. One of my dreams. I want to open up a bar called the church, and that's why I was so excited about going to that brewery.
Nice. Was the beer good?
You know what? They had a I took too long to answer. No, they had a barreled age beer that was really good. The rest of the beers were okay, but I think just on the concept alone, they get extra credit, and I'll give them a pass on the beer. But the barreled age was really good, and the food was really good actually. The food was really damn good. So if you guys are ever in Pittsburgh, hit up the Church Brew Works. It was worth the wait. I enjoyed it. I had a good time there.
So there was a line to get into the place, or it was just work schedule?
No. We got there. We left the hotel early because of the weather, and by the time we got there too early. So we had to wait outside, and they opened up at I think at 11:30. We got there about 11:15. So we had to wait a little bit, but we were the first ones in, and then like 20 minutes after we got there, it started getting pretty busy for 11:30, 12 o'clock. It started getting pretty busy. But it was cool though because we were killing time, so we just kind of drove around the neighborhood. Episode 2, I mentioned how Pittsburgh has a lot of one-way streets, so our Texas asses didn't know how to drive through those neighborhoods. A couple of times we ended up going the wrong way, so that made it pretty fun to bust U-turns and get out of the way of traffic. But it was worth it, man. I really enjoyed it. And then that brings me to something I found out when I was working on post-production for episode 2, You talked about Frank's hot dogs in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Hot off the press. I just found out yesterday or the day before yesterday that the owners of Frank's announced that they're closing up shop on, so that you're never gonna be able to go to that place like you said you wanted to. Sorry, buddy.
Man, that sucks.
You're out of luck, bro.
Every time. Find
I
something
guess
I like.
I guess it wasn't as good as you thought.
I want to take it away. That's because San Antonio don't know what's popping. That's why.
They're still worried about the Alamo, bro.
Yeah, pretty much. That's where everybody goes.
There's only one thing to do there: drink and go to the Alamo. I think.
But no.
But yeah, man. Sorry, man. I know you were really looking forward to going there, but now you can go back to Austin and go to the gay bar.
No, the food wasn't good, so no. But you know what, though? I did have, now that I recall, I did had a kale ginger tequila drink. And it was like $7. Shit was good. It was refreshing.
Like I said,
might go
like
back.
I said before, I knew you look forward to going to that gay club. I knew it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
man, I was thirsty.
You couldn't.
and that drink
You couldn't
was-
help yourself, right? You started getting thirsty. You saw all that. You saw all that dick slinging around. You started. Your mouth started watering and shit. You started getting thirsty. Like, I need to get me a drink.
No, well, you know what? I'm comfortable with my sexuality, so you know.
Bro, don't hide, bro. You do you. You do you, boo.
I do
You do
me?
you.
All right, man.
You do you. You do you, boo. You like, you know, you like to go to gay clubs and eat sausage and go, oh, bro, do you? It's all good. I ain't gonna judge you. I was telling Gina today that they call me a bear in the gay community, but I'm so sweet. They call me a gummy bear. That's my name. That's my name. They call me Gummy Bear.
Ah, man. The gummy bear.
I'm the gummy bear in the gay community. So she got mad because we were drinking at finally went to that Legacy Food Hall.
Yeah.
They opened it, and we went there to go get some drinks after I picked her up from work, and they had the Winter Olympics playing. So, you know, figure skating. You know me, I was watching the TV and I was like, "Go Mariquísima, go!" You know, they were doing their damn thing. And so she got mad at me because I said Mariquísima, and I'm like, I'm part of the gay community too, you know. That's how the whole gummy bear thing came up, but she wasn't trying to hear it. I'm always getting myself in trouble, man. I don't know.
Now, speaking about the Kissima, this morning I was dropping everybody off at the airport. Of course, last minute.
Oh yeah, you said you were doing Uber works, right? You were doing Lyft and Uber.
Yeah, well, so
Trying to pay the
everybody
rent?
gets up. They have to be. The flight departs at 10:10 a.m. We are leaving the house.
I guess let's
8
let's
in the morning.
let's back up. Let's back up for the people that might listen to this. Let's clarify for the people that might listen to this episode. They're gonna be like wondering who the fuck was he picking up or who the fuck was he taking. Your family went out of town, right?
Yes.
So you were Uber driving for your
But
family.
the kids.
Everybody but the kids. So
Yes. So we had
Alright, so-
Liana come down from LA. She arrived last night. I was asleep when she got here. You know, so Raul, Nora, Liana, Hawala all left to Guatemala. The flight departed at 10:10. We are leaving the house at 8 a.m. Mind you,
that sounds like your family. That sounds like
mind
your
you,
family.
there is rush hour traffic.
Oh no. Mind you, you're in Houston and the traffic is worse than LA. Thank you.
No, that's a lie. But still, so we're driving. They're like, hey, you know what? Stay on the feeder because, you know, the Beltway, we're going east towards 59. So that's where the airport is going. And there's a lot of oil companies there. So people are going to work that way. So I'm going down the feeder. I didn't get on the last exit. And then there is a yellow light. There's a truck going. There's a little, I would say it was like a Honda Civic hatchback. And we're on the yellow light. I'm right behind the guy, and this guy is just going slow. He's going to pass the yellow light, but he's going slow. And I start honking. I'm like, no sea marica. And Raul didn't say nothing, but he kind of started laughing. Now he's a pastor. And after we get like a quarter mile, he's like, damn, that reminds me of back home. You know, people always say that over there. No sé maricón. I was like, well, man, this guy, he's trying to hold us up, man. So he found it funny. Everybody in the back was kind of quiet. Other women, I don't know if they were offended or, you know, why would I use that? But it just came out. I mean, not saying it's a bad thing, just kind of like a slur just to tell somebody to hurry up. So.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, man. Everybody takes everything so literal. You know, it's like when we call each other mariquisimas, I mean, I guess between you and me and the people around us that we talk like that to each other, it's not a negative thing, right? It's not negative to us,
No, not
and
at
so
all. It's not like dropping an F bomb to somebody, you know.
yeah, nah,
And not
yeah.
not the F you, but you know the other F bomb.
Oh, when you say the F bomb, do you mean the fuck you or the fag word? Because that was another discussion we had today.
No,
it's
that,
like
that one is like a no, you know.
Yeah, like, you know, it's just like mariquísima is not. Well, I guess the way we've been using it and the way it was used around, just around where we grew up, it wasn't like trying to belittle you because you were gay. No, it was just because you did something really stupid, like calling you a dumbass or just because you were being over the top, right?
Yeah.
You were being like what they call extra nowadays. You're being extra. You're a mariquísima. You know why you gotta do so much? You know, because there's marica and there's mariquísima. Like you're doing so much more. Like you want to be standing out, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to stand out, or you're doing such a bad job that you're standing out. So yeah, I got slack for that. But yeah, it's funny because it's just some of those things. Like sometimes you just say, "Man, that's gay."
It's just all right. It's just kind of like how the word bitch. It just comes out so easy out of everybody's mouth, especially between females. They call each other that, and I guess the tone behind it and the situation is what will make it escalate to something else. You know. Now, I mean, not saying that it's cool for me to call a female that, or just randomly using it, unless we're in that level of friendship or whatever. Not. But that's a word that they use, just that we can refer to the mariquísima word. It's the same thing. Or, how some people use the N word to each other. They might not be meaning it that way to each other, but it's just somebody on the outside of the circle.
Well, it's just like when we were growing up, and then someone do something, you'd be like, "Oh, that bitch ass nigga," you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just like you just say it like it's like a part of a phrase. Maybe it's not the best phrase to use, but it's just. I don't know, man. It's just
culture-wise, it became that way. Now, there's a meaning behind it that it shouldn't be used, but that wasn't the intent. There is a big gray area between that.
It's. But I mean, I eventually it starts dying out, right? And you stop using it less and less, and it just becomes something old that you don't use anymore. But we're not there yet, so you're gonna hear the word mariquísima for a few more years, I guess.
Shit, probably longer than that.
Probably longer than that, because they don't mean the same in Spanish as they mean in English. Yeah. Oh, you know what that reminds me of? Mexican soccer.
Okay.
Mexican soccer. You remember when the World Cup, and then all of a sudden it started becoming a problem because Mexican tradition. When the opposite team is going to kick the ball, the keeper is going to kick the ball out, a goal kick, everybody shouts, "Puto!" So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's a gay slur. I don't know if that's a gay slur, man. I've never thought of puto as a gay slur. I've always thought puto as bitch,
Yeah, but then
like you're calling someone bitch.
Okay, but see that. In that situation, it is you're talking about your opposition, the team you're going against. Anything goes. I mean, I bet you there was a whole bunch of LGBTQs in the Mexican crowd screaming that word about that goalkeeper trying to kick it out.
Hell yeah, because I don't think it was ever intended to be as calling them gay. I think it was intended to calling them a bitch. That makes a
big deal out of this. Is outside of the circle and outside of that, that culture or whatever it is. They're just listening to from the outside and they're like, oh, I'm offended. It's like, you don't even know where this is coming from. You don't know the history behind it. You don't know what we have going on here. We're not going there to call you that. We're calling this keeper. Now, if this keeper has issues with it, then let him speak on it. And
No,
I
but
doubt that he was saying anything 'cause he's getting paid.
even if he had issues, oh man, if there's any real Mexicans out there, hit us up. Let us know if when puto is really meaning gay. I could have sworn that shit meant like bitch. You're calling him a bitch.
Culero was the gay word.
Yeah, I thought culero was kind of like gay, and I don't remember them calling the culero. They call him puto. So to me that was like, yeah, bitch, fuck you. Don't kick the shit out of that ball. But it's kind of the same concept. Like all of a sudden that became a gay slur, when I could have sworn that just meant weak ass bitch.
Then that 3-6 Mafia song goes off.
Exactly.
When I say weak ass, you say bitch.
Weak ass.
Bitch.
Weak ass.
Bitch. They don't know about that.
There must be a delay on our connection because you're taking too long to say that shit.
Oh, man. So, yeah, but I mean, we'll see. Somebody will complain, but I mean, all publicity is good publicity, I guess.
No, I don't want no publicity. Just keep it simple, guys.
I'll take it.
I don't want no one saying the gummy bear is homophobic.
Nah, I'll take the publicity. Just, I mean, if we talk about publicity, it's all good publicity. Let's just, bring it Netflix. They had this, like the Bright movie. A lot of people were talking trash about it, but still Netflix was the conversation topic everywhere, and people were going to go check out that movie just to see if it was that bad. So,
That's true. That's true. Or you could have real bad publicity like, what's our boy from YouTube fucking roasting...
Logan Paul?
Yeah, Logan Paul roasting fucking dead rats.
I didn't see that part. I just know that
I didn't see it. I didn't see it either, but we were talking about it because I heard them talking about that. They're talking about the suicide forest.
Yeah. And
that became a whole debate at the house because I was just like, I don't know. My point of view originally was, yeah, maybe the kid has like a real bad judge of character. Like he just has real bad judgment, and being American and we don't know his upbringing, right? Like I'm pretty sure by the way that he acts and stuff, he's probably never experienced a lot of drama in his life, right? So being an American sheltered kid, a lot of shit that you hear about other parts of the world are almost like urban legends, right? So I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt when he recorded that whole video in Japan, and yeah, it is fucked up that he went in there, and I guess knowing that it is a possibility that you could find dead people, and if you did your research, like people were telling me, if you do your research, you're gonna know that the government doesn't even worry about taking the bodies out of there. Like the families don't worry about taking the bodies out. Like that's basically their resting place. Like if they died there, it's because they wanted to die there. They're gonna leave them there. Basically, that's what I understood. So that being said, if you go in there with the camera, you're gonna find some shit, right?
Yeah.
My original thought was, what's the difference between him going in there, being ignorant and recording it, versus a documentary crew going in there and recording it? Because there's a lot of documentaries out there that people hold highly that show fucked up shit going on around the world, right? But I guess the difference is that
it's the delivery.
It's the delivery. He doesn't specialize in making documentaries. So when I watched the video, I feel like his reaction was genuine. Like, is a kid from America that has never seen a dead body, and his mind didn't know how to react, and then the only thing that he could do was the only thing that he knows how to do, which is talk shit and try to be funny. Right? That's what I saw. But then he fucked up because he just went out to do more stupid shit that doesn't make any sense.
That he
So
continue on.
yeah, exactly.
Let's just say, okay, let's just say that he got a pass for that suicide forest situation. When he went to the temple and he got kicked out, and the guide had to kind of like get in between the whole situation and kind of apologize for him. It's like you were going to a temple, so and you're bringing a guy with you. So the guy is letting you know what's going on in there, what is this place, and what do you do there. So therefore, you cannot use ignorance as bliss in that point because you know where you're going. You have instructions. Why disrespect situations like that or places that mean a lot to his people, and you're in their
Yeah,
country.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
somebody coming over here and disrespecting the White House blatantly, and they're from
yeah.
another country, but they have a guide.
Hmm.
Everybody's gonna go up in arms and, you know, probably lynch this fool just because that's just the way things are now. He
No,
gets,
it makes sense. I think it's just that I, I I think it's just that point where we have these young people that have grown up with this new new technology that we're barely touching the surface, right? They grew up with this shit, like the way they interact with people, and it's always like you gotta up it, right? It's like a daredevil, like Evil Knievel, right? Evil Knievel, you don't know Evil Knievel's name just because he kept on doing the same stunt, right? It's like every stunt he did had to be bigger and badder, right? No matter what the outcome was, no matter if he fucked up and halfway killed himself or, you know, fucked up and succeeded, but he ended up fucking himself up. As long as he got the job done, that's what people wanted to see. And I think, unfortunately, you know, a lot of the younger generation now that have grown up in the way things are now with social media, and in order to continue to be popular, they feel like they have to continue stepping it up, right? Stepping it up, and we see that now. We see it with just not social media, but we see it with like our TV nowadays. Like, look at the way TV is now, programming compared to the way it was. It's like they step it up, right? How much more can they get away with before someone steps in and says, "Oh, you can't show that on TV, on regular TV," right? The Simpsons, Law and Order, reality TV is a big example of that. They push it. They push everybody wants to push the envelope to see how far they can get before someone says, "No, that's too much," right? And I think that's something that we do now. And even we do it. We naturally do it with our day to day life. Like, we push the envelope to see how much we can get away with before somebody pushes back. And um, I just, it's not a good thing, but I think that's the way people act now.
yeah, I mean, he got millions of views just because he fucked up, which, that meant revenue for him either way. He's getting paid, so.
Yeah. The argument that I was hearing is that people were saying, "Oh, a lot of his viewers are kids," which to me that's not an argument, because that means if he has a lot of kids watching him, then it's not his fault, unless his advertisement is towards kids or he's soliciting kids specifically. I feel like that's more of a problem for the parents of the kids, and then those parents need to be vocal towards YouTube, which I guess that's what happened. People started being very vocal, and he lost his advertisement, and now I guess they're trying to get him completely off YouTube.
Yeah, but I mean, see, kids follow him just by proxy because of his little brother. And his little brother was on a Disney Channel, whatever. And that's how the connection happened. And his little brother, in the midst of trying to save him, he made a couple of weird videos talking about he lost his virginity, blah, blah, blah. Then he made this rap song. Now, him, Jake Paul, the younger one, I can see how kids will follow him because he's in the Disney Channel. And then I listened to his song and I'm like, whoa, hold up. I wouldn't want to catch my kids listening to his song.
Well, my kids, man, they're with the know. They know everything. They told me he got kicked off the Disney Channel because of YouTube, so he's no longer on Disney.
Well, there you go. But I mean, that song was like on some grown stuff, talking about sex and all that. So I'm like, but the kids generally are just gonna say, "Oh, Jake Paul, Disney
Yeah.
Channel. Let me go listen to his new song," and the content is not even meant for them. So that's
No,
just
that's true. That
the
makes
margin.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Man, we got deep into that conversation. Fuck Logan, whatever his name is, and his little brother losing his virginity on a rap song. Fuck them.
Man. When you got it, you don't care what nobody else say. So
That's true. Or when you're young and dumb and full of cum.
they both.
We're old and drained. We're old and drained. We don't got none of that shit no more. So have you seen any new movies on Netflix? They're doing it strong, man. Did you ever watch that Cloverfield like I told you to watch?
No, I have not.
No.
I was honestly the last thing I watched on Netflix was just a few days ago. We started watching Atypical. It's about this kid with the autism.
Yeah. I saw a few episodes of that. It was pretty good. I think the girls finished watching it. They liked it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but yeah, it was a good show. Michael Rapaport was in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that crazy motherfucker. He's crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, it's just weird to see him act as a father, like, calm.
Mm-hmm.
And you just waiting for him to blow up like he blows up on, just regular life. And it just doesn't happen. You're like, that's not you. But,
Yeah.
acting is acting. Watch that. I was trying to watch that Carbon something.
Dude, that shit is weird. I downloaded the episodes before I left Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So I went through. I stopped watching the third episode, in the plane. I will say, just for anybody listening, if no spoilers, but it is a little sexual, a lot of nudity, not a lot, some nudity. But when you're in an airplane and you fucking feel like sardines in a can, and you got your phone in front of you and they're showing someone's ass, it's a little awkward, because you don't know who's, and you're in the aisle seat, you don't know who can see your phone. So I started wrapping my hands around it, and I'm like, man, this is too much work. I'm like, I'm not enjoying the show because I'm trying to cover up the screen so nobody can see this guy's ass or this girl's ass or this titty here and there. So I just stopped watching it. But it was weird. I couldn't figure out what they were. I mean, I got the concept, but it was just kind of like I don't know, man. It was just a little bit too weird, but it was still good. I'm becoming a fan of that guy. Did you know he's Swedish?
No, but Swedish people, there are, but their movies are good. Just kind of like the girl with the dragon tattoo and all that.
The Swedish movies are the shit.
Yeah.
They're let's not kid ourselves, man. They make some fucking badass movies, but that guy right there, I don't even remember his name. I didn't realize he was Swedish. I saw him the first time in the show The Killing.
Okay.
And the way he acts and the way he talks when he's speaking in English, it's kind of like in what's that DC movie with Will Smith and the Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
The way he talks in English is kind of like you think he's from the streets, or he has
Homeboy, RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop. That's him.
Yeah. He sounds like Eminem or some shit.
Yeah, exactly. Or like little Mark Wahlberg when he was trying to be hood. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, oh, okay, maybe this guy's from I was thinking to myself, I never looked him up. I just like, oh, maybe this guy's from from like Detroit or something, or he got a little bit of hood in him. You know what I'm saying? And then I found that he's from Sweden, and I'm like, what the fuck? This motherfucker played me, But he acts like so street, the way he talks shit in English and his expressions, and he must have been deep into rap when he was young.
He grew up listening to the Wu-Tang Clan. That's all it is.
Tupac, bro. Tupac.
Nah. To me, Tupac is overrated. I might get shot for saying that, but it's just that.
Fuck you, bro. Fuck you.
There you go.
Tupac was an artist, bro.
Man. Whatever. So yeah, so that is on my list. I also need to finish What Happened to Monday.
Dude, you're so fucking behind
I
in
know,
life, bro.
I know. I
Speaking
look,
of speaking of the girl with the dragon tattoo, I never
yeah.
got to finish watching those, man.
What?
She is not she is not she is not pretty, but something
But
about the
she's
way
not
she
ugly either.
acts,
It just
but something about the way she acts makes her interesting, and like you always want to watch her movies. Like ever since the girl with the dragon tattoo, I didn't get to finish watching them, because where was they used to have them on Netflix, I think, and then
yeah,
they took them
all
off.
three, and then they ended up trying to put the American remade, which
That I
some
think
of
they
them
only
watched
made I
that.
think they only made one of the
The
American
first
remakes
one, right?
or the English. Yeah, the first one, and that was it.
To see how about it flopped and call it a day.
But something about her, man, the way she acts is I like the way she acts. I've when Prometheus, she does a good job. On Sherlock Holmes, she does a good job. Everything that she's in, she just does a really good job. And that movie that you're talking about, what happened to what was it Monday,
Monday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever happened to that day of the week? She does a really damn good job in that movie because she's playing like 6, 7 different characters. Oh,
Yeah.
spoiler alert! My bad. If you didn't know that.
Oh man. No, I mean, I saw the first, I would say, 20 minutes. So I got to that part, just the breakdown of what was going on, but stop. Um, yeah. So there's a couple of things that I have on my queue. I just have to
I think
sit
that's the
down and
problem
watch
with
them.
Netflix, bro. Is that it's so easy to watch something that if you stop watching it, you always feel like, oh, I can get to it whenever I want, and you
Then you
never go
find out it's
back to it.
gone.
Or not just that, but you just never go back to it, even if it's there. You're like, oh yeah, that was good, but let me see what else is there.
Yeah.
Versus when we used to have to rent a movie,
You
it was
watch.
like you were gonna watch that shit because you didn't want to have to. If you didn't watch it, you were just throwing your money away. So even if the shit sucked, you were gonna sit there and like suffer through a whole hour and a half, 2 hours of the movie because you wanted to make sure you got your money's worth.
I mean, that wasn't even that long just with Redbox alone, because Redbox will get you quick.
Oh, I stopped watching Redbox a long time ago, bro.
Yeah. So we'll be at.
But you're right. I mean, it's the same concept with Redbox. Is you rent the movie and you got it for one night. You're like you pretty
You
much
think
make sure
you're
you
gonna
watch it.
that one
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's just $1.50.
yeah.
End up paying $9 at the end of it.
Your ass is always getting hustled, man. You spend
What?
devil.
I don't. I didn't rent those movies, man. These girls.
That's crazy. Um, what else have you been doing? You been watching the Olympics? I haven't been watching that shit.
No, not really. Just the inauguration, which was pretty cool. Um,
I heard a lot of shit about that. I heard it was really weak.
it wasn't weak, man. Look, it was a lot of fireworks. I guess it was stereotypical of Asia, but a lot of fireworks. The drone show was top notch. I mean, everybody remembers the Super Bowl situation with Lady Gaga, but this was like on steroids. And
See, I heard the drone. What do you call it? What do you call
the
it?
drone, yeah,
Drone. Sorry, pardon my French. The drone. That scene was recorded weeks before the opening.
what?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh,
That's why people were talking shit about it. That scene was recorded because they said they couldn't do it because of the wind, so they went and did it before. They like during the practice runs, and they just took one of the practice runs and just aired that.
man. Well, a lot of rumors have been going on too out of the inauguration because I mean there was a lot of things done with computers and all that, just new technology, and hackers got in it, and they were messing up people's shit. Wi-Fi's were being brought down. They were just having a little fun, just
A
to
little,
show
just a
'em
little
what they
fun.
can do, and again, just being trolls. But nobody got harmed from it, and it's funny how South Korea is such a small country as well, but they're also so advanced as far as technology, just like Japan. And they still tend to keep their, how I say it, their
The
roots
culture.
or whatever. Like they can somehow still keep everything separate. Not like us where everything just part of everyday life and we continue to evolve and you know some of our roots and what is that word? It's just like the tip of my tongue. It's
Our culture.
yeah, it just kind of fading away as
Yeah.
technology progresses.
But you should listen. I said like 3 times the culture.
So it was another word, but culture works.
Oh,
So
okay.
based on that, they have the Cinderella law going on since 2011, I would say, which used to be called the shutdown law. So Monday through Friday, no one under, I would say, 18 or 21 is allowed to play video games online after between midnight and 6 a.m. So, if you get caught, they put you on behind bars for a little bit, however long the sentence is. But, they pretty much monitor everybody, and I guess you have to register and whatnot. And, that's just how they keep it on check because they were losing a lot of the kids into video games. I mean, it was just becoming that was just their life. School was being missed and everything.
So is it? So you hold on, hold on. Let me clarify. Let me wrap my head around this. You're saying that by law, by government law,
Yes,
you could not play video games after a certain time of the day or night if you were under a certain age,
correct.
and that's because they were losing. Well, I do know. I remember hearing about a lot of people dying in Korea, right?
Yeah.
Playing video games.
Well, and it's just because they tend to always just pick one thing, and that's what they're gonna grab into and perfect and kind of get obsessed. So most of the new generation, that's what they're picking up. Just like here, every kid has a phone, video games, but they're ODing on the video games, and they're also in a capital where video games come out before they come out here. So they have access to all this, and you know, teenagers are not going to work. They're not being social pretty much. So for them to try and stop the effect that's going to happen later on, they started putting that law, and so far it has worked. So it, in a way they're gonna say, here in this country, oh, it's my freedom of speech, my freedom rights, whatever not. But in a way, you always have to have some check and balances. I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with that one.
Man, bro, you sound so. Your mama was in town,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you knew she was in town with her boyfriend, and I bumped into her at your sister's house. I went to I was hanging out over there, and so she brought up the subject about. Oh no, she wanted to know what the podcast was about, and your brother-in-law answered the question.
Oh man.
And he just pretty much said, like, he just ranted off like multiple things.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, it's just pretty much open discussion, and we really don't have like a topic, like a main topic, right? It's just a pretty much discussion. So he just ranted off different topics, and one of the topics was religion. Of course, he mentioned that one. And then so she looks at me and she goes, "Oh yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Someone told me that you don't believe in God."
Oh man, there it goes.
And, and it was funny because the reason I brought that up is because I'm not gonna go into the whole conversation that we went in. It's just too long of a conversation to narrate in this one podcast, and maybe later we'll talk about that subject itself. But she went on and we were talking back and forth, and then we just kept on. Like, at one point it was just kind of like we ended up starting to kind of go in circles. So we kind of just like killed the subject.
Mm-hmm.
And and then she kind of like brought her boyfriend into the mix, right? Because he wasn't really participating. He was just kind of just sitting there, just relaxing. If
He was being
you know
him.
him,
He usually
yeah, if you
that.
know him,
Yeah.
he was just kind of like chilling, just doing his thing. Like, let them talk. I'm not gonna say shit. But then she kind of put him in. She kind of put him on blast, and not blast, but she just said like, "Oh, he knows a lot about religion. He studied it a lot." And so I think that made him feel like he had to say something, which was fine with me because I love talking. I love like especially when you're gonna bring up a subject. I'm not I'm not gonna pull away from telling you what I feel, especially when you ask me, you know. But that was my main point to him was something that I think you just touched on was everything that we know now as right and wrong and the way we should be living life. You know, everybody says that it's God's word, right? Like God gave us those rules and regulations, or the Bible was being written by God. And my challenge to him was the Bible was not written by one author. The Bible is a how do you say it?
Compilation.
Compilation. Say it for me, buddy.
It's a
1, 2, 3.
compilation.
There you go. Compilation of books written by different authors at different periods of time in history and put together as one book, right?
Yeah.
So what I was asking him, isn't it possible that throughout these periods of time, because his argument was without God we would have chaos. And I said, you don't know that. And he said, yeah, without God we have chaos because no one would know how to act. My point was, no, our whole society around the world is ran based on what people believe God's rules are. And it's a shit show, right? Every region of the world has different gods and different beliefs, and everybody's fighting for what they believe in, and the contradictions, and some are just ridiculous fanatics, and others, are willing to put their beliefs aside and live in unity. But my challenge to him was, isn't it possible that it wasn't God that created the Bible and told people what to write, but it was just people looking at their current situation and understanding what was wrong with their society or with their little part of the world, and kind of analyzing it and saying, this isn't working. If we change this and do it this way, this could work better, or this would help us progress in life or succeed as a society, or succeed, become a better community. And I'm going to put that in writing and try to help people understand this concept. And across different areas of the country or the world in different periods of time, people just started finding these different books and then realizing, man, I like what this says and it makes a lot of sense and it fits for my community and it fits for what I believe in right now. And then I found this other book that matches my beliefs and I kind of like what it says, or I can go with that. And all of a sudden, all these books start getting put together to where they become the Bible. And I told him something that I don't know if it's true, but it's just my opinion, something that I believe in, that we're going through that period of time again because of technology and our evolution with technology and being so connected now in a way with other people that we were never connected with before. Now we know everything that's going on everywhere in the world at the same time. It's very, very rare that you find out about something that hasn't already been documented. Maybe it hasn't been reported on enough, or studied enough, but it's out there. So my point to him was the same way that happened millions and millions of years ago, where we came up with the Bible that kind of gave us a guideline on what we should and shouldn't do to help us succeed as a community, as a community. We're starting to rewrite that, but in a different way, by evaluating the way we do things around the world. And I think it's going to take many years, but I mean, what you just described now is kind of that concept. It's like that country realized that they have a problem with something as simple as gaming, and it might sound radical, but they're saying, "Oh, if you're under this age, you got to stop playing video games at this time because it's not good for you. It's not good for our society. We're not going to progress. We're not going to grow from this. It's just hurting us." To me, that doesn't sound any different than in prehistoric times, someone saying, "Oh, eating pig is not good for you. You shouldn't eat this. You shouldn't eat that. You shouldn't drink blood. You shouldn't. A man and man should not sleep together." All these other concepts that we push back on, and we say are silly. But back then, it was like people didn't know any better, and like a lot of those concepts were put in place to help them succeed as a community. Right or wrong, they were put in place for the bigger picture.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I mean, you can say that back then, let's just say a man sleeping with a man, but the hygiene situation they had back then was nowhere near what we have right now. So people were dying because they were catching something. I mean, you have one guy, top come out with doo-doo on his thing, and he catches an infection. There's no antibiotics. He's dying.
He goes and gives it to his wife.
He dies. And it's a whole chain reaction. So, I mean, I see where you say that there was laws and rules put in place to be able to have your generation go to the next, decade or century or whatnot. I think the problem is not believing in God. It's just where religion comes into play and they start making rules for their own benefit.
Yeah, that's the other thing we touched on is, and this is something, we didn't agree on every subject or everything, but we did agree on some things, and that was one thing we agreed on is that something I've preached not preach because I don't preach, but something that I've said multiple times when this topic comes up, where people ask me my opinion or why I say things or do things the way I do them, is I believe religion is a man-made creation, and historically every region of the world has their set kind of religion. Some religions are the same, but every religion has their own ideologies that fit what benefits them. Again, for that same concept of, keeping each generation growing and going and going and going and getting bigger and stronger, right? But to me, it's like a religion was a man-made creation, and it's just convenient to use God as the ace up the sleeve to say, "Oh yeah, this is the way we got to do things because it's God's will." And so now every religion, some religions are very similar, and other religions are very different. But the one concept that stays the same across religions is that they all believe they're doing God's work, right? Right or wrong, you believe one thing, I believe another thing, or this religion believes one thing, this religion believes another thing. It's like I think every religion was created by man to help them use that blind faith about God to get their people in check or get them going to where the direction that they needed them to go to get from point A to point B. The same way we do here in America with politics. Why do we need religion and politics mixed? Because it benefits for votes, right? If you can get a church behind you that has 300 people in that church, then yeah, you want that church behind you so you can get those 3,000 votes in a small community. It's the same concept. It's a man-made thing that it's only when it's convenient for you that religion is good for you or those beliefs are good for you.
Yeah, but we can go into so many layers of it. We'll take hours and hours, and I think our listeners might want to take a break. So let's just call this the end of today, episode 3 beta.
Bitch, don't lie. You just don't want to get into the religious topic because you believe in the devil. I know. I know you believe in the devil. I already told you, stop believing in the devil. He's not real.
Shit, I don't know.
Only my Lord Jesus Christ is real, okay?
We'll do it for next time. That would be episode 4.
Episode 4. No, episode 4 we're gonna have a guest on episode 4 for the first time.
Oh, that's right.
You act like we have. I'm acting like we have a lot of episodes. Yeah, for the very first time on the history of the Three-Legged Podcast, we're gonna have a guest.
So yeah, we here.
We're gonna try to have a secret guest on episode 4, and the reason I say secret is just in case it doesn't work out. If the guest doesn't come on the air, it's okay because it was a secret.
You never know who it was.
You don't know who it was, and we'll keep him for episode 5. So. All right, man. It was fun. It was real. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you are listening, we appreciate it. Make sure you share. It's a work in progress. This is a Three-Legged Podcast, aka Amateur Hour, aka Beta. So
make sure you follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and I will say Facebook, but to me, Facebook is wash. So no, just Instagram, Twitter. And, hit that follow for notifications on iTunes, Spotify, or SoundCloud, whichever you prefer. Oh, also, let's not forget we are on Tumblr. For those who are back there.
And we have a YouTube channel.
And Tumblr. Being dirty.
So
we're there. So, and YouTube. Now, don't expect on YouTube yet to see us in the studio. That will come later on. Just
I don't even know my gummy bear face is not. I don't know if it's ready for the camera, but we will try to be creative with the YouTube episodes, as we tried in episode 1 to be as creative as possible and give you some visuals for the podcast. We can't promise we can do that in every episode. I mean, again, this is Amateur Hour. We do have full-time jobs and families to go to. So we will try our best to keep you entertained. But besides you laughing at our asses, that's as much as we can offer you. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Peace to the Middle East. Deuces.
Thank you.